Right now, let us discuss human capital. We've been talking about attitudes, we've talked about mindset, beliefs, and all of that. Now, those things do not exist in space, they exist in human beings, the human beings who work for organizations. Now, the ensemble of their skills, their knowledge, their competencies, their attitudes that all the people who have, who work in an organization have, is what we call here the human capital. So the human capital includes the skills, knowledge, competencies, and attitudes of the people who work in an organization. So when you hear human capital, they are not talking about human beings as empty people. No, they are talking about the sum total of the skills of those human beings, the knowledge that those human beings have, the competencies, what they are competent, what they do very well, and then, of course, their attitudes. That is what together constitutes human capital. So, human capital represents this productive capacity of people. Now, nobody wants negative attitudes. Nobody wants negative attitudes. Because when you have negative attitudes, then the whole capital cannot be productive. It cannot add value, right? It cannot be productive. So human capital grows with time, training, and experience. It grows. So you find that many people are in the organization, and after a while, the productivity is increasing. People will start working, maybe the first few days, they are working and they are not meeting targets. But as they keep learning, right, they are trained, they attend training sessions, and they start having more experience, then you find that their productivity now starts to increase because there is that growth that happens. Remember, human capital is not just about skills, knowledge, it's about attitudes. But we said that only you, the individual involved, can change your attitude. But in terms of skills, the organization can train you to have skills. You can learn skills. Through this course, you are acquiring knowledge about attitudes, mindset. Through other courses, you are acquiring knowledge about other things. The more you do work, the more you become more competent in doing that work. So you find that over time, human capital grows, especially when people are learning, people are doing, people are interacting, and so on. And then training too. So if you think that your skills, knowledge, competencies, and attitude are still lacking, are still stopping you from getting into the best organization, maybe that organization that you're just looking at from afar, then through training and experience, you can improve. That's what we are saying. So every organization is looking for human capital that can help them to achieve their goals and their objectives. And that human capital is an ensemble of the skills, knowledge, competencies, and attitudes of their people. So when you want to enter into the world of work, what employers are looking for, do you have the attitude, the right attitude, right? If Do you have what it takes to acquire competencies, or have you ever had any competencies in anything before? It's true that when you are still entering the world of work, employers are not too strict on things like competencies, knowledge, I'm sorry, skills, but knowledge, yes. They'll expect that you have knowledge, you know things, but most especially they are looking at your attitude. But as you get into the organization, then you can continue to acquire skills. You can become more competent by working. So take note, you are entering into the world of work. You are entering into the world of work. What is it? What is it that your first employers would want to see? Number one, attitude. Number two, knowledge. You should know things. You should know about the organization. You should know about your sector. You should know about yourself, right? They want you to have that knowledge so that they can train you to have the skills that you lack and help you to work to have competencies. This is if you are entering the world of work. But let me give you a secret. If you have basic competencies in certain things, they will make your entry into the world of work easier. If you have skills, it will make your entry into the world of work easier. Remember this. You as a person, you are not human capital. What qualifies you as human capital is your skills, knowledge, competencies, and attitudes. That's what qualifies you as human capital. And if you know what capital means, capital is what people can use to make more money, to increase their wealth. So if you have no skills, no knowledge, no competencies, and a rotten attitude, you are not human capital. Sorry, you are only a human being. So make sure that you start thinking about yourself as human capital. And that means that you will develop these 4 things we have mentioned. Because every organization wants to win. Every organization wants to win. Whether it is in church or it is charity or it is business or whatever else you are in entrepreneurship, everybody is struggling to win. Because as we were taught in secondary school, resources are scarce. Money, material resources, all are scarce. So everybody who is in every form of activity is chasing some scarce resources. And because of that, people are competing. Now, the winner is the one who has strategy. Strategy is how you want to use the resources that you have to be on top, to be ahead. That is what strategy is. How do I move from point A to point C where I want to be with the resources I have? That strategy, that how. It's not about what you need to do, but how you need to do it. That strategy. So every organization wants to win, and they are looking at their strategy every day. How do I want to get to where I want to get? And we need human capital, because strategy is just that how. But now, who would implement that how? People, right? And if those people are not considered human capital, they cannot help an organization to win. That's why some organizations struggle, because they just have human beings working, they don't have human capital. So people will translate strategy into daily actions. We as human capital, we will translate strategy into daily actions. They tell us this is how we want to get to that place. Now you will take that how and put it in place every day to get there. So human capital enables innovation and adaptability. So if you are not human capital, you cannot be an innovative person. And organizations will not hire you because you cannot drive innovation in their companies. You cannot be adaptable. Adaptability is important because every day changes will happen in that organization. Things always change, and they need people who are smart enough to always adapt. So without capable and committed people who are capital, then strategy will not work. Strategy will fail. Then those organizations that hire you will collapse. You see the link? There is you, your attitude, your mindset. Then there is everything that adds up to that to make you human capital. And then there is competition in the world of work, requiring every company organization to develop strategies. And then you again need to take those strategies now, implement them so that your organization can be effective. And what do they need from you when you're implementing strategy? They need you to be innovative and adaptable. Otherwise, the organization will fail. It will fail. And you see, who are the people who usually cause organizations to fail? People with the fixed mindset. We started saying it from the beginning. So I want us to look at right now how strategy creates value. Remember, I said every organization keeps strategizing, and if they win, it means that they have created value. I just said strategy is about those choices. How do you want to get to a place? And what is value that we are talking about here? Solving problems that meet the needs of customers. Customers will only pay you when you are meeting their needs. right? So you as human capital, you are going to help in crafting strategy, but also in implementing that strategy so that organizations can create value by meeting the needs of customers. And everyone wants to continuously meet needs, not just to meet the needs today and then you go out. And another competitor will come and meet the needs. And then you find that your customers are now switching to this other competitor. So you want to be sustainable. Every day you have to be meeting needs by being committed. Only people with the growth mindset help organizations. People with a fixed mindset cause organizations to struggle a lot. They struggle. When you hear your boss is always shouting at certain people, check well. Because organizations a lot of time, resources, energy, and organizations really struggle. So human capital, which you are, that ensemble of all those four things we talked about, will help to create this value that we are talking about, meet the needs of customers, right? They will be able to be very productive. They will increase the quality of their work, quality of customer service. Everything that they do will be very good. You see that when it comes to executing tasks that have been given, they are very disciplined. They are never late. They execute the tasks when they are asked to, and as such, results are seen. Those people who are human capital, who have the growth mindset, they have good ethical behavior, which helps to even protect the company. People will not find that everybody who is working at a certain company is a cheat. They bring down the reputation of the company, or that they are very poor in customer service. They bring down the reputation of the company. So what this means is that organizations want you to become human capital, and that's why they invest in training. And if you are here and you have an organization, invest in training people to acquire more knowledge, skills, right? Competencies. Of course, what you cannot train them is to change their attitude. But of course, a training can help them to see what negative attitudes are what positive, and then to look in within them and try to make the difference, because that's the most training can do. So if you also have an organization here, make sure that you are recruiting people for their mindsets and their attitudes, and not just for skills. Make sure that you align people systems with your strategic goals. You have people. How do you manage those people? What are your strategic goals? Let them be in alignment. The kind of goals you choose to pursue will determine the kind of people you work for or you work with, that you recruit into your organization. And if you are here, you have to start getting into the world of work. Remember that these are the things that companies will do. They will recruit for your mindset and attitude, not just for skills and knowledge, right? They would look for people who align with their goals. So before you even go to work in a company, try to understand their goals. What strategic goals have they set for themselves? Look at yourself and ask yourself, do I have what it takes to align with these their strategic goals? If not, look for another organization, because you will go for the interview and you will not be taken in the first place. And you start saying that it's because you do not have a godfather. So what are we taking home? Mindset shapes how people think and learn. Attitude is how mindset appears in our day-to-day behavior. Human capital is the engine that helps us to execute strategy. And when all of these are put in place, we can create value, because value depends on people, not only on plans. And value means meeting the needs of customers so that they can pay us for the services that we render. So we've talked about the role of human capital in strategy. We have looked at the meaning of human capital. We've looked at the meaning of strategy. Human capital is an ensemble of your skills, your knowledge, your competencies, your attitudes put together that can create value. And we've talked about strategy, that's how those choices that you make to achieve your goal. And we have also seen how people now can connect strategy now to meeting goals and objectives. You see how it works. So you are at the center of it all, but not as a human being that you are. You can only add value as human capital. So how do you know, just to wrap up, how do you know that you are human capital? Quickly, you have knowledge about your business, your organization, your sector, your collaborators, your company. You have the right skills that match. If you are working in a restaurant, you have cooking skills. It means that you fit. So you have the right skill sets that are needed in that organization. You are competent. It means that if they say who knows how to slice onions here, they will call you because you are good in slicing onions. That restaurant, you are competent in that, you do it perfectly correct. You have had experience, means that you've been cooking at home or you've been cooking in other places. Your attitude is the the one that permits you to look at the world more like a learning opportunity. You grow and you have values like honesty, like respect, punctuality, you know. So remember that to be human capital, you need all of this. Technical skills, know how to get the work done, professional skills, know how to talk to people, not shouting, not being rude, not snobbish, not but you know how to talk to people correctly in a professional manner. When someone is a mister, you address that person as a mister. So that kind of professionalism, and start building experience in talking with people. Use your good judgment. Let your work ethic be good. Learn how to solve problems. Not always to say, I don't know how to do this. Learn it. Read about it. Try it. Gain the experience. Let people see that you can be adaptable. Anytime there's a changing situation, you can change as well. That's what being human capital means, right? And now, because human capital is so valuable, there are some basic characteristics that you must keep in mind. Human capital cannot even be owned by the organization because it's within you. That's what is beautiful about it. Make yourself human capital, and everywhere you go, you'll be perceived as human capital because an organization cannot own you. Since the skills, the experiences, the knowledge, the attitudes belong to you. Everywhere you go, you carry that. They're not owned by the organization. It grows with training and experience. So don't say that, oh, me, I'm not human capital. No, you can become starting today because it's very important for you to do so. It influences your performance and the results. And in every organization that you will go, people will see you as an asset, not a liability. As an asset, as a profit, not a cost. So you want to become human capital. And like we have said before, strategy is what helps now organizations to make use of their human capital to achieve their objectives. Okay. So when you're thinking of an organization's strategy and you're asking yourself, can I fit into this strategy? Ask certain questions or talk to the people or read about them to see where do they want to go. You will see it in their vision statements. Where is it that they want to go, right? You will see their strategy, how they want to get there. They'll talk to you about their values, the kind of customers that they are serving. Helps you to understand, to even answer these questions. How will we win or succeed? You will see how they create value. If you understand this as an employee who is entering the world of work, you go and read. With these questions in mind, go to the company's website and you read things. You know how to prepare yourself, even to go for interviews, even to stand before the executives. But if you are running a business and you're thinking about strategy, these are also questions you must ask yourself to develop strategy. Because until you have answers to these questions, you will not even know the kind of human capital that you need for your organization. You will not know if you have the right human capital or you don't have. So it's very important. And as we have said, strategy is about the direction, how you want to go to a certain place, the choices you want to make, how you align your people, human capital, to your systems, and how that the human capital now will turn plans into results. So just as a recap, you've seen the link between human capital and strategy. Human capital will design the strategy. So strategies do not fall from the ground, from the sky. If you are human capital, then you will design strategy. Just imagine a company will call you and say, come and tell us how to move from where we are right now to where we want to get. That means that you have grown, you have reached that level. That's why we are training you to get to that point. Human capital adapts strategy when conditions change. Remember, we talk about adaptability, and strategy is only as strong as the people responsible for it. So I can come from outside and give your company all the strategies, but if you are not human capital, the company does not have human capital, then they will not be able to execute that strategy. Nothing is going to work. Things are going to stay the same. So human capital is the value that you bring to an organization. Ask yourself, are you human capital? That's the question you should be asking yourself right now. Are you human capital? If the answer is no, you know everything we have discussed now can help you. Go and start building one after the other. Use them as your building blocks to become human capital, because only human capital is valued at today's workplace.